Hey guys, this is Haley from OneOnRabbits.com, and today I'm going to be doing a hay rack review. And as you can see, I have a whole bunch of hay racks and hay bins over there. These are all the ones that I could find that I've used before. Before I get started, I just wanted to let you guys know that the background noise is my dad playing music in the basement and Mocha shredding a cardboard box. So sorry about that. The first hay rack I ever used are these little hay racks you can get from a pet store. I got these wire ones from Fleet Farm. I don't know if they have those where you live. I don't know if it's a local thing or not. But I really liked them, but they're only good for babies because once they reach like a few months old, they go through these hay racks really fast. See, it's only as big as my hand. So every time I would go out to check on the bunnies, the hay would always be gone. So it's way too small for older rabbits, but for babies, I find it perfect. They hook onto the side of a cage like this, just with the little hooks, and then you put the hay in. The next type of hay setup I used was a hay bin. This is just like a storage bin, and I filled it up with hay. I did not like this hay setup at all, because when I'd fill it up with hay, the bunnies would either jump in there, pee and poop, or they would tip it over and all the hay would go on the floor. Next, I tried a Kleenex box. This wasn't ever their main source of hay. I only used this for like special treats where I just put hay in there and they could take it out for fun. But as you can see, I don't use it anymore. I use it for little scraps. But the reason I don't like these is because since I cut the little hole off, when they pull out the hay, all of it comes out with a chunk and it just falls on the floor. But I can't have the little hole in there because Lulu got her head stuck in it once and that really freaked me out and I don't want it to ever happen again. Next, I used this wire paper holder you can find in like the office section of like office store. What I did was I zip tied it here and here onto my cage, and then so when it was connected like this, and then I would have two dog leash clips that connected it. So then I could take the dog leash clips off and it would open like that, so I could refill it with hay. The reason I stopped using this is because in my old condo I had tiny little holes like this because I had chicken wire for the wiring. And it was extremely hard to get the zip ties through that. And so when I moved the hay rack, which I did quite often, it was really hard to put it back on. So I kind of stopped using it for that reason, but it was quite a good hay rack, actually. It didn't hold as much hay as I would like it to. Since I have two bunnies, they went through it really quick. But if you have one, it might be a good choice. They can also get hay out of this little side here. So yeah, this was a pretty good hay rack. Next, I used this little hay bin. You're supposed to put it in your locker at school, but I bought it for hay. It has these circles in it, and I thought they would be able to pull the hay through, but they're too small and it doesn't work. So they would end up taking it up from the top, and for some reason, I could never find a good way to keep this in the cage. It was always messy, it made hay everywhere, and I don't know, I always just didn't like this. Next, I used these under the shelf storage units. You're supposed to put it under a shelf like this to have extra like storage, and I would stick it on the cage like this. And I would put the hay on the top. A lot of you probably remember these hay racks. I used them for quite a while, probably quite a few months. The things I didn't like about it was they had small holes, so sometimes the rabbits would get frustrated and start biting the little wire right here. And they would start digging at it with their claws because they couldn't get enough hay out. And then they started jumping in the top of it and peeing and pooping in it. That was when I knew I had to start looking for a new hay rack because I really did not like pee and poop with their hay, because that's just gross. And as you can see, it's kind of stained yellow down there. So yeah, this was a really good hay setup. So if some of you guys have a bunny who doesn't like to jump in things, this might be a good option for you. This is my most recent hay setup. It is a bent NIC grid. I first used this with Sebastian. I zip tied it to the side of his cage like this over his litter box, and then he could take the hay out, but he liked to jump in it and pee in it. So, whoa, I'm zooming up. Sorry about that. So yeah, after he left, I washed it with, I soaked it in vinegar and water and gave it to Mocha and Lulu. And they did the same thing. They both would jump in there and pee and poop. So what I did next is I zip tied this to the cage and dog leashed this to the cage. So then it was like a tube, like that. And that worked great. They never jumped in it afterwards. And the holes were nice and big so they could take the hay out. So now I'm just going to show you all three of my top picks and tell you which one I like the best and the least. So one of my top picks is this one. This is probably, I can't decide between these two which one is better. But this one I really liked because of how simple it was to put it on the side of the cage, and no zip ties required. Really easy to get on and off. The reason I didn't like it was because the holes were small and the bunnies jumped in it. This one I didn't like because I had chicken wire on my old condo, so it was hard to zip tie it on and off. But I have not tried it with my NIC condo yet. And then my top pick is this hay rack, which is the bent grid. And now that I have shown you all the different hay racks I have used in the past, I'm going to show you the hay setup I have now. So this is my current hay setup. It is a hay rack I made out of pine wood. Well, actually my dad made it. And I have it on these two wooden dowels that go above the litter box. So far, it's my favorite. The bunnies can pull the hay out really easily, and they just love it. And it keeps the hay mess down extremely. There's only like a few little bits of hay outside of the litter box, but when I had a hay rack, they would stand outside of the litter box and grab the hay. But now that they have this, they have to go in the litter box to eat, so it's way less messy. So yeah, that's my top pick for today. But I understand a lot of you probably don't want to make a hay rack, so that's why I showed you all the other options. So I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. I'm just showing you all the hay racks I talked about and hay bins. Sorry, that was my dad. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.